You're an expert in coaching, international coaching. You run a coaching practice, and also you coach coaches. So you're a great person to give us some insights into growth mindset and personal development.
I've been in the business of coaching for 18 years now. Over the last number of years, bringing neuroscience in because of our interest and my specific interest in interpersonal neurobiology, big words, but it's basically how humans connect to themselves and to other people.
I know there's various facets to your business, but one is obviously your classroom-based testing. How have you coped and responded to the challenges of COVID-19?
Well, that's a great question. And we drank some of our own champagne, to be honest with you. You know, we brought in what we do in other businesses. So we started really planning early, which stood us well. I think that adaptive intelligence, along with the understanding of what will it disrupt the most, and to be honest, like we do in a lot of things, we started by staring at one of my favorite tools, which is a blank whiteboard and markers of different colors, and going, okay, let's try and work this out. But we did lean back into our value systems, what's the most important to us, which is our engagement and connection with anybody we work with. So we wanted the quality of our work to stay at the front, stay at the top. So when we realized that we could do that, and we could do it with a lot of hard work and effort in bringing our team in together, then we realized this is totally doable. I think it's good sometimes to drink your own champagne to prove that, you know, what you're putting out, role modeling, walking your own talk, to bring it back and go, actually, this is what I would do if I was with my best client and all my clients. This is what I would do with them. Why wouldn't I do it in my own business? So that's been great, really.
I love the quote, when the winds of change are blowing, some people build a wall, others build a windmill. It sounds as if you've built a big windmill.
Yeah, I think it's naturally you and what we do. Again, I mean, I think of all the businesses that I've been in and my team go into, and they're looking to change. And one of the first building blocks of change has to be a willingness to change, not just a realization that I want to change and we want to change the business or the team, but a willingness to do it is very different. I like us to be guided by our values towards the windmill that can allow us, you know, build that energy to move forward. I think that's a very important directional piece for the wind to blow.
You mentioned the importance of aligning your business to the core values.
Yeah.
If my understanding is correct, from a coaching perspective, you like to develop individuals on a basis of looking at the values. Why is that so important as a sort of basis for growth?
Sometimes people come because they want to work on their confidence. Let's say that's a very easy one to say, right? Businesses want to be more confident, brands want to be more confident, humans want to be more confident. And often they talk about the view of other people. So in their eyes, I don't want to change, or in their eyes, I have to change. And it's always about others and then self, others and then self. One of our informants, if you like, to our curriculum is Dr. Dan Siegel, and he loves acronyms like I do. So he calls us OATS, O-A-T-S, others and then self. So when it comes to values and confidence, I often am listening out for who is informing your confidence and what is informing your confidence. And if it's others, if it's an OATS system, others think this about me or others want me to do, then I know the confidence won't be there to grow in themselves or to sustain in themselves. If we don't identify, clarify, design even our own values, there's always that risk of being pulled, our power being pulled towards someone else instead of guiding it for ourselves towards our future. So if you know that your values are integrity, trust, loyalty, well, then they're guiding your decision-making, your direction, your career, your relationships, what will I do next? If you don't know that, it's likely that it's others first. And so you'll be living through someone else's guiding system. And that takes your power away and that takes your confidence away. So it might sound simple, it's work to be done, but once you have those values established, then in coaching especially, that's why we look at them, because the decision-making of what to do next or how to go about it becomes much easier because you're guiding yourself with full power in play. That's why I see it as important for sure.
That's excellent to understand. So it's essentially, if you're living in line with your values, you're probably more likely to be satisfied and happy.
Yeah, and there's this big kind of global endeavor goal to be happy. And it seems like we're seeking the Holy Grail. Where will it be? When will I be there? But if you look again behind that and understand what would that mean for you and what would that generate for you, it's a contentment with self first and then others. So I think that view of living for other people or doing work for other people is actually about growing them and not about growing self. So it does come back to the self piece for sure.
A lot of people are being pulled in different directions, be it work, family, leisure activities, etc., homeschooling. I know you do a lot of coaching around the principles of boundaries and setting boundaries. Why is that so important in terms of the busy everyday life?
I think busyness is definitely something we use as a blanket to cover the tasks maybe that we don't like to do so much, or again, where we're drained, we're giving our power away. So for me, boundaries demonstrate and honor the fact that you value yourself and your time and your energy. And also boundaries stop the busyness from overwhelming you.
So apart from the obvious advice of getting a good coach, where would you recommend that someone starts to develop a growth mindset and improve their current version of themselves?
I think have a good conversation with yourself, definitely. And I say that because if and when they go and sit with a coach, often those first conversations are, I've never heard myself say that before, that I have value to put this time aside for myself. So I actually think stage one is to become awake and aware of what self is for you, to turn the mirror around and start looking in it and understanding the value you have and have a willingness to add more value. And once you want to add more, then you've got to grow more. So if you were asking yourself, how would I want to add value to myself? How would I want to add value to others and to the world and have that ripple effect? Then even asking yourself that question and reflecting on it or sitting on it will start to form new ideas. Hopefully will start to join some new neural pathways for yourself. And then that's a brilliant starting point. That is a growing starting point of something new can happen. It's not going to be perfect. Nobody's looking for that. It's just about having a view of, I'm willing to try that out and give it a go and see where a lesson from that might be and add value to this, maybe able to add value to someone else I connect with. So I think it starts with self again. I do. Have a conversation with yourself. Listen to yourself, maybe.
So a lot of it's probably creating a space and time to actually have that self-reflection.
Or also, do you know what I find sometimes? People will avoid listening to themselves. So they will listen to people they don't value as much as themselves, or they'll numb themselves out being distracted. They'll do anything to avoid the conversation with themselves, which is, you're actually worth more than this. So what are you willing to do about it? So they'll keep being distracted by vices, whether it's food or TV or, whatever it might be, but they'll have turned away from their own value. Honor the voice that's inside, sometimes whispering at you and sometimes shouting at you. Some people say it's gut instinct. Some people say it's a wisdom that's, aching to be heard. But space to hear yourself in that reflective space, it's such high value.
And in today's society, one of the things that disrupts that space and clarity of thought is obviously technology. I'm thinking particularly in terms of emails and notifications from your phone. I was reading recently that, every time you hear the buzz of your phone and notification, you get a dopamine hit, which is actually a sort of form of addiction equivalent to slot machines, etc. So I know a large part of what you've studied is neuroscience. How can we start to overcome that crave for a dopamine hit in terms of notifications, social media, etc.?
I think, it's a really good point. And we've done lots of talks of the age of mass distraction, which we are in because of that. I think one of the things to understand is the consequences to being distracted by dopamine. Having so many different distractions, as you said, whether it's phone notifications or whether it's, even if it's your dishwasher or your washing machine beeping to tell you it's done, there's another notification. That's an alert system that is naturally built in humans for survival. So it's natural our alert system will react to that. What we've done, though, is we've superimposed all these non-alert notifications into an alert system. So we're constantly on alert. So threat going off, our system goes into alert, dopamine is kicked in, it kind of feels good. But what we've stopped doing is really understanding the substance behind the alert and putting a value on it. So what we want to do in our systems is possibly recalibrate that alert system. That helps a lot. Or putting boundaries in. So one of the things that we encourage people to do, but that brings the boundary piece and the dopamine piece together, is decide, like I'm doing here with you, is this is going to take a set amount of time. I know there's people in my life that are important to me that are outside of this room. There are things going on outside of this room for you and I, but I have decided that already, that I won't be alerted during our system unless it's, a key red flag that I know I've set personally up. If that, so dopamine is just a hit, and then we have to put another layer of executive thinking on top of that, which means our brain has to be involved. And our brain being involved means that we do choose between the stimulus and the response. You get to choose if you engage your executive system to make a decision about it. Putting a value system, an importance prioritizing system around those notifications. And if we're in something that's more important to us, we put a boundary outside those. And really on an everyday basis, we should have much stronger boundaries now anyway, because we seem to have outsourced those urges to respond to some other, version of us that is just going respond. And then it's becoming addictive, like you said. I mean, I know as well, if my phone gets an alert going off, there is an urge in me to, I wonder what that is. But I've had to put an extra layer of conscious thinking on top of that to say, it's not any more important than what I'm doing right now. This is more important. So by the language we use is priming ourselves to know alerts are going to be going off all around us. These are the ones that I value, that I will respond to, and the dopamine that kicks in from those I'll move forward with. Everything else is just a noise notification. So you can choose whether that notification has value or not by putting some thinking on it and by designing what your values are and understanding a priority of that's not a high alert, that's a low alert. So it puts us back in the control of what's happening with the chemicals in our body, because there is a cost to dopamine hits all the time on our systems.
I know from an academic point of view and personally and professionally, you do a lot of reading. Can I push you to name your favourite book or one that you've read recently that you've really liked?
So I am rereading, probably for the 8th or 9th time, and Dr. Dan Siegel's book, Aware. I think there is so much in it. And because I've spoken to him and worked with him in the past myself, it just illuminates awareness levels that just keep growing in our systems, and we need it. I think we all need to be more aware of how our systems are and how we're reacting. I think one of the biggest reasons I reread that the most is because acknowledging that we are humans and stuff happens, and that sometimes we get distracted away from who we want to be, and it allows the reshape of that I'm not aiming to be at the peak of me. I'm aiming to be in the sea of possibilities for me. There's a big difference. So I love that opening view of not to put yourself into such a tight space of being the best of everything, but instead be in the space where you have possibilities for everything. So his book Aware is brilliant at illuminating and identifying, okay, it's neuroscience-y, but it's in very easy, understandable human engagement ways. So that's the one I'm delving into more often than others.
And I know you're a big fan of TED Talks. Can you give a TED Talk recommendation to us?
Brené Brown's TED Talk on vulnerability is a game changer. Every time you watch it, it resets the human in us and how to connect the science behind the human behavior. So I will always hold that one up front as the game changer in humans releasing themselves from old echo chambers of negative thinking and shame and all those negative emotions, and allowing the beauty of the skill of vulnerability becoming a strength in all of us, in humans and in teams and in business.
I know you almost have an encyclopedic list of positivity quotes, but can I push you to give me one or two of your favorites?
Oh God, now Brené Brown is stuck in my head, right? Because I'm a big fan of hers. I don't know if you've read all her books. One of her last books was on the wilderness. It was about belonging to self. And that really struck a chord with me because I think working with a lot of people in teams and business, there's always that sense of, do I belong to the team? How do I belong in my family? It's always how do I become one of the tribe? And that wilderness one was really about understanding the belonging to self. And it's around belonging is belonging to yourself first. It's about speaking your own truth and telling your own story and never betraying yourself to others. I love that quote, that belonging piece. So that's one of my favorites. And the other one, which I've been using this year, is very short. It's, I didn't come this far to come this far.
It requires a bit of thinking, I guess.
It does. And again, it's about, I love that one because it's about sticking firm, stick to your guns, stick to your principles, stick to your values. Some people, I think, felt in the last 10 to 12 weeks, this is too much, but you didn't come this far to just come this far. There's more. That is the ever-growing space ahead of us to work at. And sometimes we have to stop and pause and take rest. But then, there's more ahead that you will feel satisfied again in and engaging in again. So That's a poignant one, I think, right now that I'm embodying.
Yeah, it really underpins the growth mindset that I think we're all trying to adopt and achieve.
It does, yeah. I just have no idea where it came from, you. I don't even know where I read it. I just know I picked it. It's one of those where you go, oh, and it just kind of stuck in my head. So I can't even attribute it. I'm sure some very wise person said it, but I just really like it. Yeah, I really do.
Well, Maureen, you've been very generous with your time. Thanks a lot for sharing your wisdom with us. If someone wants to reach out to you and contact you, how can they get in touch?
The easiest way is I am very visible on LinkedIn. So Maureen Hewitt on LinkedIn is probably the easiest connector to me, and feel free to connect in with me that way. They'll find me on our website, psg.ie, but LinkedIn is the easiest one. I think the easiest route for most people to get me on. So feel free to connect. Love to see you on there.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks again for your time. And again, thanks for sharing your wisdom.
My pleasure, Ewan. Fantastic. Thanks a million.
Take care. Thank you.